So I was talking to my aunt today, who's a lawyer, and her young colleague who has started their own practice. And we were discussing two prospects who came into their office through my marketing efforts I've helped them set up. And basically, she wasn't able to close them and get their business. The one thing I find pretty interesting and sort of fascinating is that for all the thorough and intense studying that has to occur in order to pass the bar and become a lawyer, there isn't much in the way of instruction on how to run a business, namely how to sell clients and retain their services. So for the sake of sounding like Captain Obvious, let's be clear, that's what's going to drive the bottom line. Being able to capitalize on every potential client who comes through your door. Now, before we get into some of these key principles of signing on clients, it's important to have some way of tracking the percentage of people that you talk to against the number who end up becoming clients. The reason is simply because what gets measured gets managed and can be improved. It doesn't have to be anything elaborate, but know your numbers. The lawyers that I speak to are the ones who are progressing in their practice, and they know their numbers. Their average is around 30% client onboarding rate. And that's not terrible, especially in my background of real estate and other sales industries I've come from. It's not uncommon to see percentages in the teens or even single digits that are considered high closing rates. But the numbers are relative. And if everybody is averaging that, you want to be above average, obviously. So imagine if you can get that number up to 50% or more. For many law firms, that can equal at least 2 or 3 more clients a month, which can be a substantial increase to the bottom line. So I'm going to go over quickly what I call the 3 M's of selling, specifically for attorneys. Number 1, manage their emotions and expectations. Remember, as the old saying goes, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. In many cases, hiring a lawyer is an emotional one that most people aren't used to doing and probably will only do a handful of times in their life. Be able to acknowledge that and speak to that. They don't care about what school you went to or your past record or credentials. They want to know if you can help them recover lost wages or pay for the medical bills or arrange for them to be there for their kids or make sure that they go home to their family instead of jail, whatever the case may be. Establish an atmosphere of trust and non-judgment. Believe it or not, even when speaking to a non-biased professional like an attorney, people are concerned about how they look. And your job is to eliminate any of that apprehension by setting clear guidelines. Tell them that you're going to ask them some questions and you need them to be as honest as possible, and allow them to ask you any questions and tell them that you will in turn be completely honest with them. Number 2, make it all about them, because it is all about them. Now that you set the tone and expectations and have spoke to what they are feeling, ask them what brought them to you today. Allow them to talk, and the more that they talk, the more they will open up and the more trustworthy you will become. Open-ended questions are always the best, of course. At this point, it's helpful to be mindful of your body language and your facial expressions and to observe that as well. You know, one of the things that make a professional like a therapist so effective is that they represent a neutral and non-biased party for the person to talk to openly and honestly. So when it is your time to speak, be sure that you reiterate specific things that they said to reinforce the fact that you know exactly what the situation is. And number 3, move them to action. We all know the sales term, always be closing. Ask for the sale, ask for their business. And when you do, incentivize it why they should begin working with you today. And that's where you circle back to number 1 and number 2, where you speak to their pain points. You acknowledge what their concerns are. And now you are asking for their business so that you can begin to remedy those issues right away. You tell them that if you hire me today, I will file a motion right away so that you can see your children, or so that you can get the medical attention that you need, or that you can regain those, recover those lost wages quickly, whatever that is within your power to do. So again, ask for their business and attach a benefit to it. So if you take these principles and apply them, your client onboarding percentage will increase, will generate more leads or better qualified leads. That's all I have for today. I hope that was helpful. I'll leave any important resources and information below this video, and I'll see you on the next one.